All right, I am just about wrapping up making a vacuum table for my Shapeoko 5 Pro CNC machine. I've had this for about 3 years, and I've been doing the slats with the clamps for about 3 years, and I think I'm to the point where I'm doing a lot of 3/4 sheet goods. I'm not doing a lot of just engraving, so it was time to make a vacuum table. Also, my slats that were on here were pretty much worn all the way down, and I was to the point where I needed to make a new slats anyway, so I figured now would be the perfect time to make a vacuum table. I got a lot of information based on forums and things like that, but there's not a lot of videos out there. So I'll kind of show you how I did it, what I did for this, the plumbing, everything like that, and just to give you guys a little bit more information. So before I talk about the grid and everything, I want to show you guys that I took off all of the MDF slats from underneath, and I also removed one of the T-track, or so two of them. So one here and one over here. I removed the aluminum T-track completely. So they're just sitting over here because I wanted to route the plumbing underneath the table and save as much Z height as I could. Instead of building a table that would sit on top, I wanted to route all the plumbing underneath. So as you can see, I have 4 zones, 1, 2, 3, 4. And my left side, I lined up the holes right along where I took out that T-track. So it's kind of like there's no center stone. Like you can see how it's off center to the right a little bit. This one's off centered to the left. It was just where I could get it. If I did it center, it wouldn't have lined up with one of these T-tracks. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then coming under the table, so I just use 1-inch PVC piping and adapters for everything. If we look under the table, I just drilled some holes so that access could come through the bottom. And then I have my 4 zones coming out here. The reason I have these front zones doing this U shape is because I've had a drawer here forever. This is like my catch-all drawer for everything. It's taken out. It's just sitting over here right now. And I wanted to keep that drawer there because I use it a lot, but I still wanted to route the plumbing underneath. So I drop these front zones down and back, and then they come back around. And then underneath I have the 4 ball valves that I can turn on and off. And then I just picked up this new Dewalt Stealthsonic shop vac. I've heard a lot of people are using these vacuums. I've done some tests already. This is the 9-gallon, I believe. And it has enough CFM to suck down the spoil board and material on top of that. All right, so looking closer at the grid that I made, I just drew this up in Carbide Create. It took me like 5 minutes. These are just 1-inch squares, so I used my 1/4-inch bit and I went 1/4 inch down. And then I basically just had to draw my outlets for these along where I took those T-tracks out. So I just measured from this right side back, from the left side over to get my circles on my zones. And yeah, so making the grid was actually super easy. Getting all the holes lined up to where the T-tracks came out, that was a little bit more difficult, but overall the grid was pretty easy. Now let's show you how it works with the spoil board on top. Okay, so I'm going to be using a 1/2-inch piece of MDF for my spoil board. As you can see right now, everything is off. I can slide it around pretty easily on top of there. But when I go ahead, line it up just like this, and I turn on the vacuum, everything starts sucking down, and I cannot move that spoil board. Now I can lift it, but I can't move it side to side in an X or Y direction. Let me turn that off. I do need to seal the top edge of this spoil board just to prevent leakage of air. So whenever I get this surfaced, I'll go around and I'll seal all those edges with either primer, spackling, something like that. But yeah, let's see how it works now with some material on top of the spoil board. All right, so I primarily use 3/4 MDF for a lot of projects. I am going to make some sort of fence system so I can still have a good X and Y radius, either with some dowels or something. But for right now, I'll show you how it works with just putting some stock material on here. So right now it's off. We'll stick it right over here. So it can move a little bit. I'm putting quite a bit of force on there, but if you remember, this is just one zone, so I'm sucking down the whole table right now. So if I close off the other 3 valves right now, all right, so I closed off this zone, and that zone. So right now it's only this zone right now. That thing is not moved a little bit. It's a lot of force to get that thing to move. So I'm pretty confident that when I'm doing a job, that's not going to move. So I still have some efficiency improvements. Like I said, I'm going to seal this. I also got this gasketing. So a lot of vacuum tables have gaskets that I can put on the grid, so I can gasket out each zone just to provide more suction. I'm honestly still playing with it. I'm not a pro at this, so it's kind of just playing it by ear. But I just wanted to show you guys how I did it, so that if you guys want to, you could see this video and put some comments or anything like that. But I still have to seal up all the PVC pipes with PVC cement. But yeah, hope you guys got some use out of this. Thanks.